What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review, and this time I'll be taking a look at Ursula and gonna be going over the builds that you can run on her in the modern times, and finally I'll have a special bonus segment at the end. So she's a Gen 1 Blue Mage Cavalier with Blue Crow Tome as her preferred weapon, and she was one of the first round hero battles that we had in FEH, and she got a weapon refine 3 years ago in 2020, and it's a really simple weapon refine giving her the effective damage against cavalry foes, and then the weapon refinery part gives her extra attack in combat depending on the total debuffs on the foe. So this is the broadly fan effect or the spy stagger effect that we have seen on Matthew's weapon refine, and the first unit to have this effect was Guntra, so she did have that in their Blizzard Tome, and at the time of getting this weapon refine, Ursula was basically like a blue Guntra. She still faced competition from Reinhardt, but she was useful in Aetherite's defense on cav lines. So back then when she got the weapon refine, it was definitely pretty nice, but obviously this does lack a lot of effects and stats for the modern standards. Weirdly enough, she's going to be making pretty nice use of this weapon even now because we do have Legendary Male Robin with his Grand strategy and he can debuff his own allies, so that can help you against his team. But yeah, Ursula unfortunately doesn't really have the highest attack stat at base 31 even after the Resplendent stats, so just like any other Gen 1 unit, she's going to be taking a lot of investment, and she doesn't really get any kind of debuffs from this weapon itself, which was still a point of contention back when she got this weapon refine. So you'll have to run some kind of tier 3 chill skill in her slot B or run a menace skill so that you can get the debuffs, or you can just have allies that can debuff the opponents, and we have a lot of units at this point that can debuff the opponents, so Ursula is going to be appreciating their help with the panic status, with the debuffs, and also the sabotage status that we can now get. So she can capitalize on those debuffs, and she's going to be appreciating every single investment, merge, and dragon flower, and also any kind of support that she can try and get. Unfortunately, because she's a mage cavalier, she doesn't really have too many options when it comes to skill inheritance, but still she has got some new tools as you'll see in the build section. So Ursula overall is going to be appreciating any kind of extra stats to her attack and speed, especially because she's not too fast, and she gets a Resplendent version right around the corner as we're about to get an Arcane Blue Tome. So that is also going to be a pretty nice option that you can run on her because it is going to be a modern weapon. So if you're going to be building up Ursula, then of course you're going to be needing a lot of investment. Attack Ivy is going to be helping her do more damage, so you can pick that and then you can ascend her speed asset, and you can just run attack speed catch 4 and speed resistance fortress from the divine codes. And recently we did get Fallen Male Morgan in the limited ephemera manual, so he can provide the attack resistance menace in her slot C, which is going to be helping her a lot getting those debuffs herself. So you can run that and stack up as much attack as you can. So this is going to be the standard build that you can run on her, and Glimmer can also be a special because many times she can get a lot of attack from her weapon, so that is going to be helpful. But any other special that is 2 cooldown can also work out with her, and you can also run her with Remote Sparrow and Brash Assault now. So this is something you can get from Dökkálfheimr, and this is going to be giving you more damage reduction, and because she's an older unit and not the fastest, she can actually make use of the guaranteed fall of attack in the player phase with Brash Assault, and this also gives her the damage reflection, so it can actually help you survive and also do a lot more damage on the follow-up attack. So this is something new that you can run on her, and again, a menace skill is going to be really good so that she can get some debuffs by herself. And like I said, you can also run the new Arcane Blue Tome that we're going to be getting on the next banner. So Arcane Euphoria does give her -1 special cooldown, which does make Glimmer into a 1 cooldown special, so you can easily pre-charge that with any kind of support ally like Asker or Duochrome. And it also provides you with +5 to all of these stats, which is good because her weapon refine doesn't really give her any kind of extra stats. She's also able to get the guaranteed follow-up attack with this weapon and also deal true damage based on 15% of her attack, which is honestly not going to be that much because Ursula's base attack is not that high. And then finally she can get 30% damage reduction on foes' first attack. So the damage reduction can be really helpful by stacking it up with Remote Sparrow, so she can essentially have 51% damage reduction in the player phase, which is going to be helping her survive, and especially with the attack debuff that she can get from Menace and the extra bulk that she gets from this weapon, it's going to be helpful in her survival at this kind of max investment. And you can just run the Fortress skill, and Menace is going to be a pretty nice option as it is because there are not too many options for the Mage Cavaliers, and you can also just run Blade Session to get the max offenses in the player phase. She also has access to Flared Sparrow because of being a Cavalier, so that is also something you can run, and you can just run Defense Red Smoke 3 actually in slot C so that you can set up the Pathfinder for your allies after setting up the Flame Terrain with Flared Sparrow. So it is going to be an expensive but fun option for Ursula if you have a Brave Gullveig. And this is something that she didn't really have before, so she does appreciate the damage that she can get out of the Flared Sparrow. And then Flame Terrain can always help you with a hit and run. And that's why the counter from her Trace skill is going to be helpful for retreating and then setting up the Pathfinder with the Smoke skill. Arcane Euphoria also matches up really well with her new Fairy Resplendent, and unfortunately Arcane Euphoria is not going to be scoring like a legendary weapon, so if you're going to be using her in Arena, then you can just use Blue Crow Tome and use B-Dual Cavalry 4, and because she needs some kind of debuffs for her weapon, you can just run Shield Speed Resistance 3 and Panic Smoke 4 from Kadean Ursula actually, and she makes amazing use of that fodder. So this way you can get the debuffs on the opponent and also set up for the foe penalty doubler effect with Panic Smoke. And in Arena, there are going to be a lot of units with the visible buffs with their rally skill, so that's why Panic Smoke 4 can be pretty good. And if you're going to be using her with any kind of debuffing ally like a legendary unit who can have access to the debuffs, or any kind of Grail unit like Aversa or Zephyr, then she's going to be appreciating that support. So if you already have them in your Arena core, then this could be worth the investment if you really want to use her in Arena. Unfortunately, she's going to be having a hard time surviving hits from the enemies, and she's mainly going to be functioning in the player phase, and even then a lot of the damage reduction can be pretty annoying for her despite the damage output that she can get out of her weapon. So obviously she's not going to be performing the best, but if you're a big fan, then this is something that you can run. If I had to improve Ursula's weapon and modernize it a bit, then I would give the following things. So I would still have the effective damage against the cavalry foes because that is pretty unique, and then at start of turn, if she's got at or above 25% HP, she can get +5 attack and speed in combat, and then she can also have the splash debuff of -6 speed and resistance and panic on the nearest foes within 5 spaces and the foes within 2 spaces of those foes. So it is kind of reminiscent of Zephyr in that way. So this is going to be helping a lot with the Broadleaf Fan weapon refine that she has got, and this is going to be making her self-sufficient without really requiring a menace skill. And then I would give her the half null follow-up so that she can bypass the follow-up negation effect, and I'm still going to be keeping her Broadleaf Fan effect, but going to be giving her even more things in her weapon refine where she can get +5 attack and speed in combat, and also the dominant status, which is going to be opening up more damage output for her because she's going to be able to do true damage based on the total debuffs on the opponent. And we have actually seen this before on Kadean Ursula, so it does go well with her, and it just capitalizes on a debuff playstyle, and this is something that she really needs because her attack is pretty low for the modern standards and there's a lot of damage reduction. So dominant status along with her Broadleaf Fan effect is going to be giving her some nice damage output. And then finally, I will have the Fire Soup effect in the combat for her because she had bolting in FE7, and I think having this is really good because it is going to be making her unique as a free-to-play Mage Cavalier, and it actually makes her pretty annoying because she can do a lot of damage with the debuffs and dominant status and just not get counter-tagged. So let me know what you think about this Weapon Refined Theorycraft in the comment section down below, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to share this video with your friends and also leave a like and a comment. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as her weapon against debuff neutralization. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.